Good morning, students. So today we are going to see the last class for the grammar topic, active voice and passive voice. So far we have discussed for assertive sentences both positive and negative, interrogatives, and today you are going to see for imperative sentences. As we all know, imperative sentences are nothing but they are either request or command. Okay, so usually the structure of imperative sentences will be, you will have all the imperative sentences will be mostly beginning with verb, then it will be followed by object, that's all. To the maximum you will have some requesting words like please, please close the door, please fetch me some water. Otherwise, if you see, the structure of imperative sentences are only this. Okay, so the sentences, imperative sentences will begin with verb and they will have object. So this is the active form. Okay, so in order to change this into passive voice, always as soon as you come to know that the sentence you have got is in imperative form, is an imperative sentence, immediately the passive voice, there are two ways of writing passive for imperative sentences. The first model, you have to begin with let. Okay, so let, then you have to, whatever object you have got in the question, you will bring that down here. Okay, object, then you have to add the word be. It is simple plain be. Then this verb is there, no? For this verb you have to write the past participle form, that is V3 form, past participle. So this is how you have to write any given imperative sentence into its passive voice. Okay, the given imperative sentence will usually begin with verb and it will be followed by object. So the passive voice, you can begin, one model or one method is, you can begin with the word let, then object, then the word be, then whatever verb you have got in the question, that verb you can write it in its past participle form. The second model is, okay, you have to start it with you are. Okay, you have to start it with you are, then followed by, you will have a verb here, not the verb that is given in the sentence, but you will have a different verb. For example, I told you imperative sentences are request or command. So if it is a request, you can write it as requested. Clear? You are requested. If it is a request, you can use this verb requested. You are requested to. Then whatever you have got in the question, you can just reproduce it again. You are requested to, then verb plus object. Is it clear? For example, the given sentence is a command or an instruction or an order. You can write it as you are commanded to, you are ordered to, you are instructed to. Then the rest, whatever is given in the question, you can take and write it as it is. Is it clear? Okay. For example, I'll give you an example. Okay. Memorize the poem. The poem. Okay. So this is an imperative sentence because this memorize, it is an instruction. It is starting with verb. Then you have object. So this is verb and this is object. So if you have to write the answer in the first model, you have to start it with let. Okay, so after let, we have to bring the object. So what is the object here? Let the poem. Then you have to write this word be. Be, and the verb, the last part is past participle of the given verb. Here the given verb is memorize. Be memorized. Past participle of memorize is memorized. Clear? So this is the answer using the first model. Let the poem be memorized. Using the second model, I told you have to start with you are. So you are. See, memorize the poem is an instruction. So you can use the word instructed. You are instructed to. Then whatever is given in the question, you can write it as it is. You are instructed to memorize the poem. So that's all. Okay, so this is how you have to change any given imperative sentences into the passive form. Okay, this is first method and this is second method, and where we use the second method mostly is when you are given only the verb without the object. We will use this. For example, see, this is also an instruction, no? Sit down. Sit down is an instruction. Now this instruction, it doesn't have an object. So in that case, you cannot use this first method. You have to go only for the second method. You are asked to sit down. So that will be your answer. You are asked to sit down. Okay. So first method, if you have object, you can write it in the first method. In case the instruction or the imperative doesn't have an object, you have to go only for this second method. So this is how transformation of active to passive for imperative sentences. Okay, now so far I was only talking about the positive. Okay, in case you get a negative imperative sentence, do not, again you will have verb plus object. Okay, so do not, verb plus object. This is again imperative sentence. This extra part you have got to show that it is a negative imperative. Okay, so in this case, how you have to write the passive voice? Let, again object, before be you have to write the negative word not. Okay, then be, then again V3. Same with using the second method. You are, whatever verb you have to write. For example, I am repeating the word requested. Okay, or in ordered, ordered not to. Then whatever is given in the question, verb plus object, you can write it as it is. For example, do not throw the ball. Okay, that is an example. Do not throw the ball. Okay, so using the first method, let, object is ball. This is verb. Okay, let the ball. Then you have to write the negative word not. Not be. Here the verb is throw, no? So V3 of throw is thrown. Let the ball not be thrown. Okay. Then second method. You are, again you can use the word instructed. This is a kind of instruction. No? Do not throw the ball is a kind of instruction. So you can use instructed. You are instructed not to throw the ball. Okay. So with this, imperative sentences are over. Do not throw the ball. The first method is let the ball. After writing the object, you have to use the negative word, then be, then V3 of verb. Second method, you are instructed, because this is a kind of instruction, you are instructed, or you can even simply write it as you are asked. Okay, you are instructed or you are asked not to throw the ball. This is for imperatives. Okay. Okay, Kana, now we will see some more sentences for imperatives. Carry it home. Okay, so this is verb, this is object. So let it be carried. Carried is V3 of carry. Let it is object. Okay, let it be carried home. Do it at once. Okay, So this do is verb here, it is object. Okay. So let it be, past participle of do is done. The remaining part you can write it as it is. Okay. Let it be done at once. Now for this, the second method is carry it home. It's a common kind of instruction. So again you can use you are instructed to carry it home. Is it clear? You are instructed to carry it home. Now for this sentence, the second method is you are instructed or you are asked to do it at once. Clear? So this is how you have to write the second form. And the third example or imperative is open the door. This is a very common statement, no? Open the door, close the window. Okay. So open is verb, door is object. So let the door be open. Okay. Now this open the door can be an instruction or a request also. So in that case you can either write it as instructed to or requested to. So the second form will be you are instructed to open the door, or you are asked to open the door, or you are requested to open the door. So any one verb you can use according to the meaning of the given imperatives. Okay. Okay. Yes. Help me. Help me is a request. So obviously you are requested to help me. In case the first method, let me is object, help is verb. So let me be helped. Is it clear? Okay, just one more sentence. Work hard. Okay. See this work hard. You have only the verb. You don't have object at all. So in that case we have to go only for this second method. So now this work hard is a kind of an advice. So you can write the answer as you are advised to work hard. See, usually in active voice and passive voice, if there is no object, the given sentence cannot be passivized. That is the general rule. But when it comes to imperatives alone, even if there is no object, still that can be passivized using the second method. See, work hard is only the verb. You don't have object here. So we are using the second method and starting the answer with you are. And work hard is a kind of a advice. So we are using the verb advised. See now this word advised, no, when you use it as a verb form, you have to use the letter S here. If you use it as a noun form, you have to use the letter C. So this you have to be careful again. So you are advised to work hard. We are writing it as it is. This is for positive imperatives. Now negative imperatives. Do not insult the weak. Clear? Okay. So now this you have to show that it is a negative imperative. Again you can begin with let. Now this is verb here and this is object. Okay. So bring the object here. Let the weak. Now this weak represent or it means it refers to all the weak people. Okay, let the weak. Now immediately after object I told you have to use the negative word. Then the word be. Let the weak not be. See this is verb here. V3 of insult is insulted. Clear? Okay. So this is how you have to change the negative imperative into its passive form. let the weak. The weak is object here. You have tried the object. The object should be immediately followed by the negative word not, then the word be, then V3 of the given verb. The given verb here is insult. Okay. Now the second form for this will be you are. This can be taken either as an instruction or an advice. So if you take it as an instruction, you can write it as you are instructed. If you take it as an advice, you can write it as again you are advised. Okay. You are instructed. Now immediately after this word you have to use the negative word not. Not to insult the weak. Is it clear? Okay. Now one more example. Do not beat the dog. So this is again a negative imperative. So this is for negative, this is verb and this is object. Clear? Okay. Again, beginning with let the dog. Now after writing the object, I told you have to write the negative word not. Okay. Immediately after this, be. Let the dog not be. Here you have to write past participle of the verb. The verb here is beat. Past participle of beat is beaten. Let the dog not be beaten. Okay. Now this you can take it as an advice, instruction or order or command. Okay. So you can also use you are ordered not to beat the dog. So only up to this you have to remember and write. This part, whatever is given in the question, verb and object, you are writing as it is. So with this, your imperatives are over. Okay. Just one more thing we have. We have to discuss the sentences that have or which have two objects. Okay. Hope all of you have understood transformation of imperatives, both positive and negative, from active to passive voice. Okay, now we will move on to sentences with two objects. Okay, now we will see sentences with two objects. Okay, sometimes you will get sentences that have two objects. See, when we started dealing with active voice and passive voice, if you remember, I have told you how to identify subject and object. Okay, in a given sentence, how you can identify subject and object, and I have told you certain question words. If you remember, we use the question word who, okay, to identify the subject of the given sentence. Okay, then what? This word, this question word, you can use to identify the object of the given sentence. Clear? Now, in case in a sentence if you have two objects, so what can you do there? See, for example, Mr. Joseph teaches us grammar. See, even what can be used for subject also. But the only difference between this what and this what is, this what will be doing the action, this what will be receiving the action. That is one main difference between subject and object. Okay. See, if you see the sentence, Mr. Joseph teaches us grammar. So you can ask the question, who, to find out the subject of this sentence. Who teaches us grammar? What is the answer for the question, who teaches us grammar? Mr. Joseph is the answer. So obviously this is the subject. Okay. Now you ask this question, what? What does Mr. Joseph teaches us? So using this word what, you ask what. See, this teaches is simple present tense, so we are using what does. What does Mr. Joseph teaches us? So for this question, what is the answer? Grammar. Mr. Joseph teaches us grammar. So grammar is the answer for this question, what? So anything that comes as an answer for this question, we have to name it as object. See, this is how you have to identify the subject and object. That is what I told you in the beginning of active voice and passive voice. Okay, but in case there are two objects, how will you identify the second object? Okay, so the object that is identified using the question what, it is nothing but it is called as direct object. It's clear? Then what about the second object? The second object will be indirect object. Why this is direct object and why this is indirect object? Direct object, in case if there is object, means if there is only one object, means it will be obviously direct object. Okay, because indirect object alone cannot be there in a sentence, because the sentence will then become incomplete. So this is called as direct object, because if there is only direct object, the sentence will still be complete only. Okay, so now what is the question word you can use to identify indirect object? See, what and what. So object form of who is whom. Is it clear? So now if you ask this question, whatever answer you receive for this question, that is indirect object. See in the sentence, whom does Mr. Joseph teach grammar? So to whom is Mr. Joseph teaching grammar? The answer will be us. Okay, so this us becomes the answer for this question whom in this sentence. So this us is indirect object. Is it clear? Now this, it came as an answer for this question what. So this is direct object. So now if you see in this sentence, you have one subject but two objects, and obviously this is the action word. So this is the verb here. Okay. So now if you have only direct object, how will you write the answer for this? Mr. Joseph teaches grammar. Okay, this teaches is simple present tense. So now you bring this grammar to the front. See, for time being you forget this indirect object. Okay, you just take only direct object into consideration. Grammar. Teaches is simple present tense. Passive form of simple present tense is am taught, is taught, are taught. Now grammar is singular, so is taught. Okay, grammar is taught by Mr. Joseph. Now this extra part, no, indirect object, you just bring it down. Taught to us by Mr. Joseph. See, usually if you have a sentence without indirect object, this is how you will write the answer. Mr. Joseph teaches grammar means grammar is taught by Mr. Joseph. But in this sentence you have indirect object also, so that you are just bringing it down as it is with the inclusion of the preposition to. That's all. This is one answer. Now you have another object, no? So it is possible to write one more answer also. So now you have to begin. See, the first answer we began with this object. Okay, keeping this as it is, we began the answer with this. Now the second answer you should start with indirect object. So this us, no, when you bring it to the subject position, it becomes we. Okay, so now we is plural form. So for plural, the be verb will be are. We are taught. What are we taught? We are taught grammar. So now this grammar you bring it here. We are taught grammar by Mr. Joseph. That's all. Okay. So now in a given sentence, if you have two objects, the words or the question words you can use to identify two objects are what and whom. If you ask the question what, either you will get a subject if it is the doer of the action. Otherwise, if you ask the question what, whatever is the answer, it is direct object. If you ask the question whom, the answer is indirect object. Okay, so now in this sentence we have two objects, direct object and indirect object. So you can write two answers. The first answer, you just take direct object to the front, you keep the indirect object as it is. Okay, so now we have to begin the sentence with direct object. So grammar, passive form of teaches is taught. Now this indirect object, in this place you have to bring it down. Grammar is taught to us. Then the subject, as usual we will do, no? You will use the preposition by and you will bring the subject here. Interchanging of object and subject. Object you have taken to the front, so subject you are taking it to the back. And before the subject you are writing the preposition by. So this is the first answer. Now for the second answer you have to do the other way. For the first answer you took this direct object to the front and you kept the indirect object as it is. But for the second answer, indirect object you have to take it to the front and you have to retain the direct object as it is. Okay. So indirect object is us. If you take this us to the front, it becomes we. We, for we, the be form, present be form for passive voices are. So we are taught. So what are we taught? Now this direct object you are retaining it, no? So this is the place. See, if you notice, immediately after the main verb you are writing direct object or indirect object, whatever we have retained. Okay. So we are taught grammar by Mr. Joseph. See, this is common. In both the sentences this is common. Only in this part you are going to do all the show the difference, that's all. Is it clear? So this is how you have to change a sentence with two objects into passive voice. If you have sentences with two objects, then you have to write two answers. Okay. Now I'll give you some more examples. Okay. Okay, we gave Bob some money. Okay, so what are the two questions? Who gave Bob some money? We. So who gave? So someone is giving. So that becomes subject. Okay, leave. Now the other two questions. What did Bob give us? Okay, so now if you ask the question what is the answer? Some money. So now whatever comes as an answer for the question what, that becomes direct object. Okay. Now again using the other question word whom. Whom did Bob give some money? Sorry. Whom did we give some money? Sorry, even the previous question, what did we give Bob? So what did we give Bob? Some money. Now whom did we give some money? To whom did we give some money? To Bob only we gave some money. So what is the answer for the question whom? Bob is the answer. So this becomes indirect object. So now you have two objects. So you can write two answers. The first answer you start with direct object and second answer you have to start with indirect object. So bring the direct object to the front. Some money. Now gave is the verb here. Okay, simple past tense. So what are the two possible past tense form? Was given, were given. Okay, was is for singular, were is for plural. Now some money you have to consider it as singular only. Some money was given. See, now you have written the main verb. So immediately after the main verb you have to write indirect object. Some money was given to Bob by, this we become us. Is it clear? Now the second answer, you keep the direct object, you have to take this indirect object to the front. Bob. Now this Bob is name of one person, so it is singular. Bob was given. What was Bob given? Bob was given some money. So Bob was given some money, then again by us. Is it clear? Hope you all can understand. One more example. Okay. Jack sent Jill a bouquet. Okay. So now ask the first question. Who sent Jill a bouquet? Who sent? Jack. So this is the subject. Second question. What did Jack send to Jill? What did Jack send to Jill? So what did he send? He sent a bouquet. So now this bouquet is an answer for this question what? So this is direct object. Now the third question is whom? Okay. Whom did Jack send a bouquet? To whom did he actually send? He sent the bouquet to Jill. So Jill is the answer for the question whom. So this becomes your indirect object. Okay. So if you see direct object, they refer to things. Okay. Indirect object, they refer to person or people. Is it clear? Okay. So now again you have two objects. You can write two answers. First answer you write using direct object and second answer you write using indirect object. So now you bring direct object to the front. A bouquet. Now if you see this is the verb here. Sent is the verb here and this is simple past tense. So passive form for simple past tense you have two, was sent, were sent. So now a bouquet is singular. So it is was sent. A bouquet was sent. See now after writing main verb I always ask you to write the other object, no? Either direct object or indirect object. Now we have begun with direct object, so you have to write indirect object here. Was sent to Jill by Jack. Now second question you have, second answer you have to begin with the other object. The other object is indirect object. So you bring that indirect object to the front. Jill. Okay. Jill. Again Jill is singular, so again we are using only was. Jill was given. What was given to Jill? Jill was given a bouquet. See not given, sent, no? Okay. Sent. So now after the verb you are writing the other object. Jill was sent a bouquet. Who sent this bouquet? By Jack. So this is how you have to change sentences with two objects into their passive form. Sometimes you will also have questions with two objects. Who taught you French? Okay. Earlier we have seen only questions with only one object. Okay, sometimes you will also have questions with two objects. So if you see this is one object and this is the second object. Okay, so this French is direct object. Okay, you is indirect object. So again you can write two answers. So this who will become by whom. Okay, yes. Now bring direct object. By whom was French taught to you. Okay, so using first one object we have brought it to the front and we have written one answer. Now using this object you have to write the second answer. By whom were you? Okay, see for French we have used was. Now for this pronoun you we are using were. By whom were you taught French? Okay. Okay, so this is how you have to change sentences with two objects into their passive form, and this will be usually very rare, but still you can know this, and that's it. So today we have seen transformation of active voice for imperative sentences and for sentences with two objects. Imperative sentences both positive and negative we have seen, and sentences with two objects both sentence as well as questions we have seen. So with this we have come to the end of active voice and passive voice. So please go through them again and again. And in your 10th standard textbook, you have active voice and passive voice in the very first unit in page number 14, 15 and 16. Okay, so those things also you can go through. In case if you still have any doubts, you can ask us. Okay, now in your 10th standard textbook in page number 14, you have an exercise based on active voice and passive voice. So we will just see only the answers. See, if you see in the sentence, subject, verb and object. Okay, now this verb is simple past tense. Okay, so now bring many office assistants. Okay, now this appointed, past tense 2 possible, was appointed, were appointed. Now assistants is plural, so you have to write were appointed. Were appointed, then subject, by the manager. Okay, now second one, this is subject, this is verb, and this is, sorry, this is object. Okay, so you bring object, a cake. Now this verb is are making, be form plus ing, it is present continuous. Okay, so present continuous, 3 possible answers, am being made, is being made and are being made. Okay, now a cake, so it is singular, is being made. A cake is being made by, what is the subject here? You. Is it clear? So now, so this is active voice, so we have changed it into passive form. Again this is active, changed it into passive form. Now if you see the third sentence, it is given already in passive form. We have the preposition by here. Okay, and if you see, this is also in passive form. So first of all you have to identify whether the given sentence is in active voice or passive voice. Third sentence is in passive form, so now you have to reverse it, you have to change it into its active form. So you just reverse the process. This my grandmother, you bring it to the front. My grandmother. Okay. Now if you see, was painted. Now this was painted, only for one tense you will have this construction in passive voice for simple past tense. Okay, so now was painted, simple past tense is only painted. Is it clear? See now, because was you have for 2 tenses, children. One is simple past tense and the other one is past continuous tense. But had this been past continuous tense, you would have had being here. But since you don't have being here, we can understand that this is simple past tense. So my grandmother painted. So past tense of was painted is painted, painted, and this we are bringing to the last, that portrait. Okay. Okay. Now if you see this sentence, had bought. So this is active form. This is not passive form. This is active form. Okay. So this is subject. This is object. So bring object. Colorful hat. So had bought is past perfect. Okay. So past perfect, you have only one possible answer. Had been bought. Okay. Had been bought. A colorful hat had been bought by, subject is Malini, and whatever is left out, for her daughter. Is it clear? Okay. Now this sentence, they have asked me to pay the fine. So here asked is have asked. So this is again active voice, you have to change it into its passive form. So this is subject and this is object. See this, you cannot say you have two objects. Clear? Everything that comes after infinitive, you cannot take it into consideration. Okay. Now they have asked me to pay the fine. Okay. So me becomes I am. Sorry. This is present perfect. So have asked will become I. For I, it is again have only. Have asked is present perfect. Two possible answers. Have been asked, has been asked. Okay. Now for this first person singular I, you have to use only have. I have been asked to pay the fine. This you are writing it as it is. Pay the fine by them. Okay. So me became I. For I, it is again have. Have asked will become have been asked to pay the fine. This you are writing it as it is. Then after by, the subject they becomes them. Okay. Next one. The militants were being taken to prison by the police. See, you have two clues. One is this were being taken shows that this is passive voice, and the second one is this by, again it shows that this is passive voice. So you have to change this into active form. Okay. So now this has to go to object position and this has to come to subject position. Okay. The police. Okay. Were being taken. So now if you see were, you can understand it is past tense. As soon as you see being, you can understand it is continuous tense. So past continuous, it will be either was taking or were taking. So now for police, it is only was taking. The police was taking the militants to prison. Okay. His behavior vexes me. This is active voice. Subject, verb and object. Me becomes I. Vexes is simple present tense. So, am vexed. Okay. For I, you can use only am. Am vexed by his behavior. Okay. Rosie will solve the problem. This is again active voice, subject, verb and object. The problem will solve will become, this is simple future tense, it will become will be solved. The problem will be solved by Rosie. Okay. Okay, our army has defeated the enemy. Again, this is active voice, subject, verb, object. Okay. The enemy has defeated, present perfect, has been defeated, have been defeated. Now, here you have singular, so it is has been defeated. Has been defeated by our army. Okay, and you have last one more sentence. The salesman answered all the questions patiently. The salesman answered all the questions patiently. So this I want you to try the answer. It is in active voice. You have to change that into passive voice. First pattern it into subject, verb and object, then find out the tense, then accordingly you change them into passive form. Okay. So with that, in page number 14, the exercise is over. In page number 16, you have some more exercises. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, Kanna, the exercises that are there in page number 16, you just try. In case if any one of you have any doubts, we will clarify you either through call or WhatsApp. Thank you.